we are Karolina and Łukasz from A4BEE, Architects for Business. On this session, we will be talking about the adaptive industrial gateway platform as a first step towards your digital twin journey. I know that our main topic today is adaptive gateway platform, but because it is first step towards digital twin, can you tell us more? What is digital twin and what are the main benefits from digital twin implementation?
So digital twin is a concept which helps us to represent the physical assets into digital ecosystem. It means that when we have a machine or a motor or even a person in the physical world, we can try to model it in a digital one in order to do either optimization, maybe sort of prediction, or simply simulation on the specific processes or process parameters. So digital twin is our way to really work without having to interact with physical assets, just through the digital ones.
And what are the main benefits from implementation of digital twins?
Definitely the benefits of the digital twin lies in optimization of the costs, which you need to predict, for example, the failures of your machines, or before you go into the specific set of requirements on your process, you can do the simulation to try to optimize the outcome. The other very interesting part of the digital twin promise is that we can do the full-blown simulations, including the mechanistic models. For example, in biotech, we are trying to use it to simulate how the proteins will fold. Very interesting topic, which really lowers the cost of entire manufacturing and R&D.
Thank you for explaining us what is the digital twin, and right now if we can come back to the main topic about adaptive gateway platform. What is a gateway? Why there is a need for a gateway in the context of digital twin?
Very good question, Karolina. So first of all, a lot of people are talking about the IoT platforms, right? How to connect the data to some cloud platform. But this is not entirely full picture of what we see from our implementations in the Industry 4.0. First of all, people always, when they think about gateway, they think about some closed box which is just getting the data and pushing it somewhere. It's not entirely true, and it is based on our projects and the R&D research which we are doing with our customers. The immense diversification on the shop floor when it comes to the standards, protocols, machines, and how the machines are communicating and exposing the data requires rethinking how we are acquiring the data and sending them to the platforms later on. Just a simple connector doesn't work. We need to have a failure tolerance, like store and forward and many other things. One of the most important parts of creating the proper gateway is ability to adjust to the new requirements which were not known in the beginning of the project. Hence, we call it adaptive, because it can adapt to the various situations and project challenges which we have. Second part is why platform, not gateway? Well, the gateway imposes something closed, something like a product is fixed, it has its boundaries. We more think about this concept as a platform because we want to give the openness to our customers. If customers, they have a specific connectors or specific modules which they want to download to the gateway, it is possible because it's a platform. You would have a specific API layers and many, many other features which allows you to extend the platform itself. Now, the other part, which is very important from the platform perspective, is that we can have multiple deployment models. And this gives flexibility to our customers.
If I'm hearing correctly, for both digital twin and adaptive gateway, interoperability is one of the critical capabilities.
It is. The interoperability between many vendors to many platforms, this is something what we are focusing on. As an example of existing gateways on the market, the problem is that very often the gateways are promoting one specific cloud platform. You get the data from multiple devices, but the only way what you can do with them is to send them to one and only cloud. This is not the reality for our industrial customers. They want to have either their own cloud, they want to have a multi-cloud strategy, they want to have their cloud of choice, and the gateway has to follow this logic. Now, When it comes to interoperability, as I mentioned, it's important to have multiple connectors to many standards. But when you try to do anything with the data still on premises before you go to the cloud, you need to be able to come to the one common standard. And here again, our platform, Gateway platform, is helping with bringing a concept of data river, which basically, in opposition to data lake, is not for storing the data, but is making sure that the data can flow through entire organization and later on potentially end up in the data lake. What it means from our perspective is that we are setting up one consistent data bus. Very often our industrial customers are following the recent trends of using OPC UA or MQTT. Both are acceptable. If there is some additional standard, we can look into it. But again, because it's a platform, not just a gateway, we can adjust to it.
As you mentioned, the gateway is used between the edge computing devices and the IT systems within the customer's environment. Yeah, so the data from the edge devices, all the equipment in the context of manufacturing can flow through the gateway into the right place in the IT environment.
Exactly. So this is another important part which you mentioned, is that we are working in the IT environment, OT environments, meaning the operational technologies, manufacturing industry, heavy stuff, and quite often quite legacy systems we have to deal with. But on the other hand, we have a lot of new systems where we are deploying artificial intelligence, VR, AR, and so on, and those are purely IT systems. Now, there is a huge gap between how those systems are being designed and how they work. And again, Gateway can become a platform which is mediating between those two worlds, right? And then we have this famous OT and IT convergence. That's why what we also really focused in our product is that we have a very modern deployment scenarios. So we are not doing the monolithic system, which is basically sitting somewhere on some magic box. In fact, if our customer would like to have a heavily distributed system, like one of our customers, where we needed to set up 70 containers across multiple hosts, this still is considered one gateway, but it's distributed, right? So here we are really trying to put full flexibility for our customers.
Tell us more about the use cases, about the customer's implementation we as A4BEE work with.
Sure. So one use case which I just mentioned was about the very specific deployment model and flexibility around it. So
which industries?
That was specifically for the biotech. So we were going into the area of R&D lab, where there are multiple devices scattered across the entire space. And what we needed to do is to use the customer-specific connectors to each machine, which were doing some additional logic processing. And what we needed to do is to make sure that our gateway is both fault tolerant but also heavily distributed. So we had multiple small hosts across entire lab, very close to the lab machines. And then we had the one aggregation gateway, which was collecting the signals from those smaller gateways. Then you obviously need to have entire management functions, like if one container is going down, you need to monitor it and so on and so forth. So gateway itself suddenly becomes your orchestrator of the data ingestion, right? That was one interesting use case. Another use case which is worth mentioning is that our customer had a very advanced deployment models for their state-of-the-art control based on the AI algorithms. What does it mean? It means that their production line was supposed to be managed semi-automatically using machine learning models which were trained somewhere in the cloud. This required pushing the control logic close to the machines because the time of signal going this and back from on-premises to the cloud is sometimes too much to have a very precise machine control. Nevertheless, the machine learning models were created in the cloud. We were downloading them on the gateway itself, and then there was a specific engine which was allowing the machines to be controlled based on those machine learning models. Very interesting. It showed that the platform, gateway platform, allows you also to ingest custom build modules, and it works seamlessly across the entire ecosystem and the platform.
I'm really excited that thanks to the gateway, we can provide this plug-and-play capabilities, you know, to our customers, so they can bring new capabilities as the new technology evolves and connect to the current environment, current equipment, and benefit from this.
That is very correct. I can only do the sneak peek that we are currently working together with you, Carolina, on the extensions to our gateway, which are leveraging blockchain technologies or distributed ledger technologies to manage the data integrity, and many, many other cool features which are extremely easy to integrate when you already have a good backbone of the gateway platform.
Łukasz, you mentioned already a little bit about the architecture or deployments model, but can you tell us more technicalities about the adaptive gateway platform architecture in general and technology which is behind it?
Right. One of the things which we put in the core, in the center of our design philosophy is the full modularity. You take what you need, you don't need to have entire full-blown platform. In fact, there are some core components which are used to aggregate the data and ingest the data, but the rest is optional, right? We are reusing a lot of open source, like Grafana and many known tools to the IT professionals, and we integrate them in this entire ecosystem. We are very open to bring in whatever else is needed, just for the sake of the clear and easy contracts between the components, how they are integrating and talking to each other. Basically, the stack is very dynamic. The technology stack of the gateway is extremely dynamic because depending on the deployment, sometimes you are changing the core components. Sometimes customers don't have this need of a specific technology, like the orchestration of the containers. Is it one technology versus another, Kubernetes versus Swarm? We can adjust it because we are not trying to sell a fixed boundary product. We are trying to build something which is addressing the real needs of the customers. And those needs are extremely different between customers.
As a summary to our session, Łukasz, can you share more with our audience which industry A4BEE works for mainly? I mean, you know, with the offerings such as adaptive gateway platform or digital twin.
At this stage, most we work with the manufacturing companies and specifically with the biotech. So it's very interesting industries to work with, specifically the biotech, because of the vast amount of regulations and compliance which we need to adhere to. But the concept itself is scalable to almost any type of industrial manufacturing, batch or continuous manufacturing plants.
The last question, Łukasz, I think one of the most important one. What are the benefits for the customer from implementation of the adaptive gateway platform?
Right. I think to summarize it very briefly, it's interoperability in both ways. Downstream and upstream, it means from the devices to the gateway and from the gateway to whatever platform of your choice. Second one is openness. It means that this platform, gateway platform, does not force you to use specific technology. You can choose what you need, you can adapt, and you can, in fact, bring your proprietary things to it. And probably the third one is reusing of the known tools. So it is easy for IT professionals to find your way around the platform itself. Fourth, just to add extra one, is this deployment model, which is not binding you to the specific hardware. In fact, we have cases where we are building appliances on the specific hardware of choice of our customer. It can be sold as an appliance. We are selling the gateway as a pure software, so you can do whatever you want with it with the highly distributed installation mode. And we do the custom hardware for our gateways whenever it's necessary for the specific use cases.
Łukasz, thank you for the discussion, and I would like to thank you, our audience today. We are ready for your questions, for the discussions with you. We are at our booth till end of the conference and right now. And I hope that you find the session about the adaptive industrial gateway platform useful and meaningful. Thank you.